Welcome to another Mental Health Monday. Yes, we are still in the fight. And if you want to fight, you got to make a fist. Yes. And so we talked about confidence the last time. Confidence being the smallest finger among them all. And sometimes what we think is the smallest in our life is what God is going to get the glory out of. So we talked about confidence. Today we're going to talk about relationships. Afterward, we would deal with balance, that middle finger. After that, we're going to deal with the pointer finger, which is accountability. And finally, we're going to deal with faith. All right. So we already have faith touching our confidence. Now we're going to have faith touching our relationships because, baby, relationships belong in the ring. So confidence lets you know that you actually can fight, that you have the capability of it. You can get in there and you can wear whatever it is that's coming against you out. But relationships let you know that, baby, you ain't fighting
alone.
You hear me? You hear me? You are not fighting alone. And this is whether it's romantic relationships, this is whether it's platonic relationships. It is imperative that we understand that when it comes to the ring isn't for him and I to go against each other.
Right.
This is the time that him and I join together and we make a bigger fist as one. All right? So wherever you may be in your relationships, you may be at that person that's been hurt so many times that you put up a wall and you don't want to let anyone else in. That has you in the ring by yourself. You may be that person who has been betrayed to such a degree that you don't really trust love again. And I have you in the ring by yourself, baby. It is imperative that you allow relationships to fight with you. We're stronger together. We are more powerful together. You and your loved one, you and your friends, you and that base of colleagues that you have, that after work you guys go out together and you make sure that you spend time together. That is so important. You are so much stronger together.
Yeah. I think about iron sharpens iron. And then I picture boxers in they're training for months, because a boxing match, you may have a match today, and then you may not have another match for several months, because in between that time, the boxer has to do a lot of preparation, a lot of training, a lot of conditioning, a lot of strength, a lot of techniques. But if we're talking about relationships, who else is there? We got the trainer, you got somebody that is giving them water. Think about those people in your life that are around you. It may be your spouse, it may be a good friend, it may be a coworker, but what are we doing to strengthen those relationships? Because when you're in the ring and you don't want to be alone, you want to make sure they're ready to fight too, right? So that's what comes to mind when I think about the relationships, the ring finger, and ready to fight. Think about who close to me can help me win the fight. And if they're close to me and they're going to be in the ring with me, what am I doing to strengthen them or strengthen our relationship so that we're much bigger foe than anybody?
I love it. Y'all hear that? And sometimes that's what we're so focused on. We're focused on what our friends do for us and what our partner does for us. But what are you doing for your partner? What are you doing for your friend? Are you handing them some water when they're weary and feel like they can't go any further? Are you giving them a towel to wipe their face? What are you doing?
Encouraging word.
Encouraging word. Yep. Getting in there with them, helping fight with them. Yeah. And he talked about the training up until fight day. That's what relationships are. Relationships are training, because certainly a storm is going to come, a test is going to come, a fight is going to come. And the stronger that you can become with your loved one, the stronger that you can become with your best friend, with your bro, whoever it is what's going to strengthen you for the fight when it comes. So what we do now, the time that we spend together, the way that we love on one another, the way that we talk to one another, the way that we treat one another is what strengthens us, because, baby, we done been in some fights, but it ain't been against one another. Right. It's been against the world. It's been against situations. It's been against pain and heartache and loss. Baby, we done been in some fights. And the reason we've not lost, of course, is God. But also because we have one another and we've allowed ourselves to be strengthened through communication, through meeting each other's love language needs, and simply by appreciating and respecting one another.
Yeah. I like your point, fighting together. That's so important, because a lot of times what happens is it all builds up in us. all the attacks, all the things that come against you during your work day or whatever the case may be. And then when you get home, it's just natural, unfortunately, that you lash out or take it out on the people that you're closest to. But that's the people you want to get on board and fight with, not fight against. So it's very important that we do that in relationships, especially. Figure out what it is that's attacking me or attacking her, and let's attack it together.
Yeah.
And not attack each other, because it's hard to win against someone else if we're going against each other.
Yeah.
So that's what we love to do. We love to fight together.
And that means recognizing the opponent.
Oh yeah.
And my opponent is never you.
Right.
And I'm never your opponent.
Right.
And so there'll be times that I'll be looking stressed or looking frustrated or whatever. And he'll look at me and say, "Baby, you frustrated?" Rather than pointing and blaming and what's wrong with you and why you whatever. Instead, in other words, is there an opponent? Is there somebody I need to fight?
Right.
What is it? What can we do together to make sure that you're feeling better? Yeah. And so I think that's key in what you said.
And building the relationships, not just with your spouse, but outside of that, when we talk about friends and close family members, is being able to invest in that relationship so you get to know each other better. So you know what it is about that person. You know what you need to do. You know where you need to step in, where you not need to step. You know when something don't seem right, don't feel right, don't look right. And that way you can intervene at that point and be like, what do we need to do here? Like you said, who are we fighting here? Who's the enemy? Because the enemy is very, very savvy when it comes to this. And he will twist things certain ways where it will seem confusing to you. You don't want to be confused in a fight. If you're confused in a fight, you're probably not going to win. How many times throughout the Word of God has the Lord confused the enemy in just weird ways, and all of a sudden God's people are victorious? So the enemy can take that back on us and try to confuse us in these situations. But the more we know about each other and the stronger we make these relationships, we know we're not just willing to fight with one another, but we're ready to fight with one another.
Yeah. I love it. And another thing that we're going to find out is when we're in the ring, when the fight happens, another thing you're going to find out is we're doing Dare to Detox in regard to detoxing unhealthy things from our bodies, unhealthy things in regard to relationships. It might be that fight that lets you know, wait a minute, that was never your friend in the first place.
Yeah, where they at? Where they at?
Yeah, they got your back from way, way, way back. Yeah. And so they're not trying to give you no water, no words of encouragement, give you a towel to wipe your face. They ain't trying to get in there with you. Instead, it seems like they have joined the opponent. And so a fighter sometimes also lets you know, wait a minute.
You might be a promoter. They might have set it up. They might be a promoter. They set the fight up behind the scenes and just watch you just go out there.
Now, see, show of hands, we already know that this is the gospel truth. We've all experienced it in some form or fashion. We've all had that Judas that was promoting the fight rather than in the fight. So, ring finger, relationships belong in the ring. We are so much stronger together, so much better together. And a demon, a devil in hell that can beat us together.
Right.
All right.
And the more the merrier. So keep strengthening those relationships, making new relationships, and just building up your team and your support so that you're ready for any fight.
That's it. And that whatever wall that you've built, take that down so that the relationships can happen. All right. We love you all. I will say this. Don't you worry about anything that God ain't worried about. And guess what? God.
You ain't worried about nothing.
That's it. All right. I love you. All right. Love y'all. Have a great one. Happy Mental Health Monday. Stay in the fight, baby. Stay